First thing I have on the agenda is the city sales tax. We received $163.37.88. Last year we received $155,724.75. We're ahead $68,241.87 for the city sales tax. The county we received $74,097.89. Last year we received $78,714.28. We're ahead $49,281.77 for county sales tax. Next on finance, you have a bid in your packet for the cleaning of the McHenry Street water tank. We received one bid in the amount of $14,200. David Carlson is here if there's any questions.
Don't look like it was much of a bid process.
No, I passed out 3 bid packets, but 2 people responded. One of them didn't have anything in his bid, and sent back the bid form. The only one that, but that is the lowest. It is lower than that last one I showed you the email on.
So what's your recommendation?
I think we ought to go with it. That's a good price. Good price.
For 14 too.
Yes, sir.
And the other guy wouldn't even give you a price.
No, but if you remember right, that email that I passed y'all out,
Yeah.
the other guy, it was at 27. So if he'd have bid, he'd have been 13 higher. These people that submitted that bid are fixing to start a project in Jones Mill, so they're going to be here redoing the BICC cable, the general cable water tower too. So I guess they thought that would do a bit real quick while they were here.
But they weren't going to fix any of the other problems that you had pictures of.
They're going to do repairs to the only place they can do any repairs is to the outside. Yes, they will do.
Okay.
They will do repairs to the outside.
Any other questions from the council? Thank you, David. Okay, we have 2 liens on the agenda, 910 Mooresette and 215 South Banks. Luke drew up the papers on that, and that is in your packet. 215 or 205? 205.
We maybe make the resolution say banks. So this bank
205 South Banks.
Oh, it's got an S in it.
part of block 088 lost 0A1.
Banks. So there's an S on banks.
And S in lot.
And then next, we have discussed the house at 1130 McHenry Street. You have in your packet information from Luke, and I did not make copies of these houses, which I did not know why they were attached, but here are copies of houses.
I think they're comparable. Some of those are the actual house in question. I recognize the pictures, but others are comparable houses that were sold in the area where they're getting some of these prices from.
Luke said that he's talked to a developer who's interested in purchasing the house.
Yeah, and he indicated he'd give the $17,500 quick pay price for it, and I'm in the process of discussing with Wells Fargo the possibility of doing a simultaneous closing, and I still have to speak with the state auditor on if it's okay for us to do that instead of having an auction. With the restrictions that Wells Fargo wants to place on the property, that it'd be used basically, not demolished, but utilized. I think we have a hard time auctioning it because who knows what the person who buys it's going to do. So, but if I'm able to clear that with the state auditor, there's a possibility that we could simply take possession of it for a couple of seconds, turn it over, and then put $17,500 in the city coffers.
Who's the developer?
It's a Scott Nelson property. I think Steve was talking about some, he decided against that. You don't know.
Steve had surgery today.
Oh, okay. He was talking about maybe getting it for, buying it for his son, but like I said, I haven't ran by the state auditor, can we sell it to a specific individual
It
yet?
just sounds strange. It doesn't sound like a.
Something you could see, but I don't know what those restrictions as to making someone use it for.
I know that's got one, they should put a rent house.
Sure. That's what Wells Fargo wants, is someone to rent it out or use it as a home, or they're fine with the city using it as an office or storage or whatever, they just want it to be used.
Asbestos in it or something?
I think they own a bunch of other properties in the area, for property values and all that.
Who's inspected the house?
I don't know if Steve went by or not.
Yeah.
He
Steve,
said he did.
I think Steve went by there and looked at the house for us. And they had a list of things that they have done. They spent about $16,000 repairing it prior to.
I don't see how that could be possibly right for us at all, to only offer it to one person. If we did that, it just doesn't sound right.
Well, I don't care, yeah, I mean, that's why I gotta run past the auditor, to make sure it's possible to do.
Why would they make that a gift to us? Why wouldn't they sell the house themselves? I'm not really
Tax
clear on
write-off,
that.
I'm assuming.
I'm sorry?
Tax write-off, I'm assuming, is what they're gonna do with it. They have, it's a REO program, they do it with thousands of houses a year all across the United States. They donate them to cities or 501c3s for, I guess, tax purposes. That's why they can write it off if they donate it to a city or a 501c3.
I say we give Scott the guy's number and say, man, you deal with this.
Yeah, he may do that. I think if there's a legal way we can just put a quick chunk of money in the city's bank account, though. Why not? If it's legal and proper. Not saying that it is as of this moment.
Yeah, I gotta say, this has not ever come up before that I know
I
of.
know.
Well, and there's I guess we need to.
You know of another city that's done it?
No, I don't. But there's another lady wanting to donate some property that the police chief has a use for. What do you want to use that property for?
Well, we're gonna turn it in and use it for needs that the police department has. I mean, we have plans and everything.
This is a little different, though. This has to
needs
be-
minor work.
Right.
This has to be redone so someone can move in
Sure.
it and have a home. This is a totally different thing than what.
Sure, but it just reminded me that all that we need on that particular, the chief has a use for that property is they just have to deed it to the city. And you just need to know that the city is agreeable with accepting it. Do you know the address on that? It's just an empty lot, isn't it?
119, I think, East Highland. It's right next to Dr. Knoll's office.
Oh, the caveat she had is if a building is ever built on it, that it be named after her husband. That 119 East Highland, for donating it to the city for use for the police department.
So did you say that Scott offered you a price for it already?
17.5.
17.5.
That's what he just offered?
Yeah. Yeah, that was before I got the quick pay information from Wells Fargo.
I mean,
I guess it goes
I'm sure
around.
that he would buy it, but it just sounds so weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds weird to me. Wells Fargo would call offering just to give properties away,
I mean,
but
he's got several properties.
They have
I'm
quite
sure
a
that-
few properties to liquidate, it looks
And you
like.
said,
they have like 126 in this.
but nobody from the city has inspected the house.
Steve has.
Steve did inspect
Steve
it.
with code
I
enforcement.
mean, has it got asbestos in it, or is there any, I mean,
I I know they did mold abatement, but you'd have to talk to Steve about that. I haven't been to the house. I haven't been inside the house or anything like that. But if we were to do something like a simultaneous closing, all I gotta do is draw up an as-is waiver of liabilities, form to have whoever's buying it sign. I think the city would be covered. Like I said, I gotta make sure that it's okay to sell it to a
The
single
same thing
person.
as us giving a bid out for anything. We've always gotta offer it out. So how can we just say, here's this one guy, you're our end guy, and,
That's why we were at past audit, because. But you can't
Is
have
it legal
public
for us-
auction when you're having a restriction put on, the use, I think, of the property. 'Cause-
My next question is, can we legally get in the real estate business?
Well, yeah, the city can, get rid of property, do it all the time, we just have to auction it. That's why, like I said, there's some ifs, ands, and buts, involved.
I'll tell Scott I don't like it too.
Have you contacted the league?
Pardon?
Have you talked to the league?
No.
Municipal league?
I have.
I'm sure they've dealt with it before and some others. If they do this a lot, there's,
About properties being donated. I mean, if y'all wanna make a decision next Monday on it, or, Wells Fargo wants the decision made sooner rather than later. But I can find out the legalities of it. It may be that we can't do it at all, or if we do it, we have to auction it, which is fine too.
With
I mean,
stipulation.
With stipulation, yeah, I don't know if you can auction and say, hey, you have to use this as a rent house.
Or you have
That's
to use it as a dwelling.
right.
What if they don't, then what?
I just think it's something we need to stay out of.
Who is your contact with Wells Fargo?
Hadn't asked me, I could have told you. I think his name's on
okay, he takes it back.
the packet. He's been emailing me for months on this thing. No, it's not Inball. That's the broker through Crylike. His name's Chris. I can't remember his last name right now.
Can I make a recommendation? We can probably move on. Let's just call the league and ask them if that's ever happened before and what the procedure is. And can we legally do it, or
I'll say we can do it
What-
without auction.
what are the ins and outs of it?
Well, maybe,
We're just
yeah,
sitting here
y'all
guessing
might want
now.
to auction it, the only liability standpoint I see from the city, if we take it and auction it or use it or do whatever with it, would be, like you said, if there's an asbestos issue or somebody was pouring motor oil in the backyard and we get into a situation with the EPA where the city would be liable for cleaning it up. You run into that a lot with people
That
buying
was
gas
what I-
stations
Yeah, that
and
was my
things of that
point
nature.
earlier, yeah.
But barring that, just
that-
getting it and auctioning it or using it for city purposes.
I thought it had to be for a certain purpose.
They said they just want it to be used. So, they said the city could use it for something if the city wanted to use it for something. But the structure has to remain and it has to be used for something, like occupied.
With the family.
They didn't limit it to families.
Or,
I think if we occupied, we can make it Lane's
Occupied.
office.
An office. I don't know. I don't know if it'd be cool with us using it as like storage or something like that. But
they're wanting someone to live in it.
they want it to be used, not to be demolished, basically.
We use,
So the police chief could use it and no one lived there.
We'll see. I don't know. I have to ask Wells
I
Fargo.
thought when you first told me that somebody had to live there.
I know that we could use it as an office or something like that, like I said, but
can we use it for?
they just don't want the
training in fire
property value.
department?
They own a bunch of properties over. They own a bunch of properties over in that area, and they don't want the property values to decrease. So just trashing it or leaving it just set without being used is that would be my guess. They own several properties over there. Hey, maybe y'all could use it to
We can trash it.
do one of those training fires or something in it.
Sure, we can trash it.
I mean, it may be a fine property. I think it's something we ought to stay at. Person that Larrysburg, all right, let's find out about it. Find out what we can do. I mean, it sounds like we don't know enough about it.
I mean, I'm like you, I hate not to take it if we can legally.
I mean, yeah, if it's free
I mean,
money for
it's-
the city and
it's-
there's no
it's
legal
a gimme.
problems.
I mean, if we can do it legally, but we need to find that out first.
I know we can take it. I know the city can sell properties through an auction process. It's just a question, can we sell it to a single individual? Like Steve was saying, he might want to buy it for his son or something of that nature too. Can you sell it to a single individual? which,
Sounds so weird.
that's why I got to call some people.
It's one of them things that, well, I don't know. It sounds too good to be true.
Well, it's anything that's something for nothing, you know,
Yeah, it's kinda-
simultaneous closing and then giving you a check for being the middleman is basically what it would be, if that was the case.
Let's just find out if we can accept it, and then, if we can, what we can do with it, the options after we accept it, whether it be auction, rent, sale, or whatever. It may be wide open.
If it
We're
works
not gonna
out,
do it.
I think Wells Fargo has a whole bunch of properties that, you know, they would gladly give us.
This just doesn't make sense, because if they could make money off of that auction it, and they'd do it themselves.
Tax write-off, man, I mean, sometimes that's better than more income to pay taxes on.
Well, they're probably gonna be able to write off that.
They'll probably write off more than
24.9.
17.5. They'll probably write off the full value of the house, you know, and they could never sell it for that in 100 years.
No. So you're gonna check on that and then let us know?
Sure.
Okay. Is there anything else for finance?
That's all I have for finance.
Does anyone else have anything for finance?
Are you adjourned? Are you adjourned?
Okay, the agenda meeting's called to order. First thing on the agenda is old business, the third reading of the 2015 tax levy. For the paper and for the public, this is no new taxes, it's the same. Under new business, we have the property liens on 910 Morzette Street and 205 South Bank Street. And then the discussion on the house at 1130 McHenry that Luke is going to do research on. Then accept the bid for the cleaning of the McHenry Street water tank. Anything from the council?
Dan and I met with the Downtown Merchants Association this morning about Christmas decorations for the city of Malvern. We've had a problem in the past. If y'all recall, last year there weren't any, and there was quite a bit of upset people because we didn't do anything. Julie Warner has worked out a deal with someone to put up the Christmas decorations belong to the Downtown Merchants, don't belong to the city of Malvern. The only thing city of Malvern has done in the past is put the decorations up for them. That didn't work last year for whatever reasons, because they weren't ready or whatever. So we had talked to them about it to make sure we didn't get into the same situation again. So she has been approached by someone who's willing to buy banners to be put on the lights on Main Street. And she is asking the city, or wants to make sure the city has no objection and would be willing to put those up for them. Now, they haven't been purchased yet, so if we're gonna do anything, I don't know that the council needs to do anything, except you need to know what they're gonna do and, you know, if there's any objection to it or anything like that. I don't even know that it needs to be on the agenda. If everybody's, you know, agreeable to go down that road. Of course, Glenn may want to add a little bit to that.
Well, not really.
What about the holders for the banners?
The holders, what it is it is a bracket that fits on the post, and it has arms that stick out top and bottom, and the banner goes on there. One of the advantages of it is the banners come off, you can store them, and the mounting brackets are still there. If you wanted to use it for Brickfest or you know, any other function that anybody wanted to mount.
Go.
Or political signs or.
Yeah.
No. But anyway, the problem is the time element and the time that we've got to do it. She has not even looked at the banners at this stage of the game. Glenn has some concerns about, will they fit on the post that we have? The possibility of wind damage in the event that, of course, I'm assuming that they're properly made, and hopefully Julie will find that all out. The thing I don't know that we're going to have that kind of information before the council meeting. my suggestion at this point is let Glenn work with Julie, and if they can do something that works, and the council has no objection, to go ahead with it. The other option is do nothing, unless somebody wants to buy some lights.
Is there a concern that the city would be liable for messing them up or something?
No, just the fact that there'd be a problem, to maintain and to keep them up. We have had problems in the past where street departments wound up chasing them down the street because they're blowing away and, all this sort of stuff. So it wants some assurance that these things are durable, I guess you'd say, and not
The
subject
street
to.
department wants some assurance?
Yes. They're gonna have to look at them and see. Plus the fact they're gonna have to look at the mounting brackets to make sure that they'll work. Apparently, the posts that we have are not that durable themselves, there's a potential.
Car tested one out right there by my office.
The what?
A car tested one out right there by my office. Tested my car out too.
But I told the merchants that I would bring it before the council, that as far as I knew, since they're footing the bill and the city has put up Christmas decorations for them in the past.
Oh, they have.
It did stop the guy from leaving the scene because he was high centered on the.
Well, it just makes us look better, I think. If they're gonna buy it, if we can put it up.
Well,
for them.
if we've done it in the past, if this will work, let's do it.
Well, if y'all are agreeable, we'll leave it in Glenn and Julie's hands.
You have our blessing.
We'll leave it there then.
Uh,
We'll leave it in Glenn's and Julie's hand.
Okay.
Anything else from the council?
Yes. Luke and I have been looking at the animal ordinance. Luke, could you give us some insight into what?
Well, the one issue is there's about 3 versions of our current dog ordinance floating around. If you go to the city website, it's got antiquated version that's not the most current. For whatever reason, the most recent one's not published on the city website. The city code book has a newer version than the one that's on the website, but not the newest version that was enacted in 2008. So we definitely need to do something about making sure that the public is able to access the most recent ordinance that we have for the dog, the dog and animal ordinance. And then Jan and some people from Animal Rescue were also discussing some amendments that may be prudent to make to the current animal ordinance. For like a length of time to keep a dog on a chain. There's an issue with owner surrenders right now. The current ordinance indicates a 5-day minimum hold on all animals, but it doesn't specify whether owner surrenders fit into that category, and I think there's some issues with owner surrenders being euthanized immediately upon surrender instead of being held, given time for Animal Rescue or another organization to take them and adopt them out. The vicious animal ordinance has some mistakes and boo-boos in it that I think need to be cleaned up a little bit. Because in one section it tells how to own and maintain a vicious animal, and then it gives penalties for owning and maintaining a vicious animal. So there's some redundancies and some I guess oxymorons in there, but I don't think it would hurt to clean it up. The newest one, the current one, is a lot better than the one that's currently on the website in the book. So, and it is the most recent one that was published.
Why are our ordinances not up to date?
The only thing I can think of is that when we sent it to them, because they go through and they must not have pulled some of it out of it because we
Are
sent
both
it
of
to
them in
them.
there? Are both ordinances in there?
Well, the one that's online is the one from back, I think, in the late 90s that was passed, and I think it's missing a section or two too on the website. And I only know this because we had a big dog case in Miss Burnett, Judge Burnett's court, and we had to provide them with discovery, and we provided them with the dog ordinance that was published, and ended up being not the most current one, and there were some issues and problems that arose because of it.
Who's responsible for maintaining the website?
IT department, I would assume.
Yeah, but, I mean, that is, that is linked directly to Municipal Code Corporation. And the only thing I can think of is they sold and they changed hands. I didn't know that there were any discrepancies in the thing. So what I'll do is I'll grab the last one.
I've got a copy of it right here. And you might want to confirm that that's the most recent one.
And I'll just call Municipal Code Corporation. That won't be a problem to get fixed. Now the changes they want to make to it, yeah.
Well,
You know,
we
well,
amend the
that-
ordinance,
that's
but we want to make
yeah,
sure we
yeah,
amend the right
yeah,
ordinance.
But, it shouldn't be a I'll just call Municipal Code Corporation and tell them that they don't have the latest version of the ordinance.
How do you do that?
If
Do you,
this-
when the new ordinances are passed, do you provide them with a copy, or how's that done?
I send them all the copies of the ordinances we've passed at the end of each year. And then they update the code from that.
Because that could cause us some grief.
Yeah, I was wondering, I mean, so they're not sent as you go?
Mm-mm.
Because, I mean, technically, until you publish them and make them known to the public, it's hard to hold the public to a standard, you know. Let's say we put a new thing in this and we pass it in January, is it not going to...
You want to know why?
Why?
Money.
Money.
You put it in the paper.
I do put it in the paper.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll put some-
it's
So it is
published in the
published.
newspaper.
It's published.
But I mean, every time they update the code, every page they have to change,
They charge.
they charge us per page.
I got you.
So it's just not cost effective
Yeah, heck yeah.
Can we
to have it
not do
updated.
You
Huh?
amend it to-
That's our website, isn't it?
It is our website, but the link to the code is through Municipal Code Corporation, who are the people that codify the book, that keep up with all our ordinances, and all the website does is link to that. They don't have anything to do with what's in the code.
But it's not
Yes.
something that our IT people could go in there and post an update to.
No.
They probably can't even get in there, just except
No,
just to look.
all it is a link. But I'll call them tomorrow and send this to them, and we'll get that fixed.
If this is the most recent, I mean, it's a lot better than the one in the 90s.
I don't think we've had anything since
What's the date?
2011. 2011.
Okay. So
We
this
had an
is-
exotic.
December. Well, no, that's not
I didn't
true.
understand.
No, there's no exotic animal.
We have one.
2008.
That's from 2000.
2008.
We do have an exotic animal ordinance.
Is that separate from this?
Yes.
All right.
Perhaps your group would like to speak to us? You have anything for us?
I do think that at the moment, when an animal is picked up and taken to the animal shelter, they're not kept for more than 5 days. But I think it should read perhaps business days, because when he's not there, when there's only one animal control officer, if he's not there on Saturday and Sunday and Monday's a holiday, that dog, if it's picked up on Friday, only has Tuesday. You know, and an owner can't come and look if he's not there.
And we're gonna have to revise the ordinance of these and have to incorporate that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Just be sure you remind us to do it.
And what was the other issue about
Owner
owner surrender?
Yeah, from what I understand, the way that the ordinance has been viewed is that if an owner comes up and just surrenders an animal, hey, I'm sick of this dog here, take him, that 5-day minimum retention period isn't applicable. This ordinance is silent, but animal rescue is fine with taking those dogs and cats just like they are any others, and giving them that 5-day minimum, or a minimum period of time, gives them time to come and rescue the animal, as opposed to it being euthanized or put down. So just specifying that that's applicable to both owner surrenders and, pickups.
So it's unclear about owner surrender. is what you're
Right,
saying.
right. And from what I
Has there
understand,
been any euthanized the same day? I thought I heard you say that. Are you saying to
and that's just
prevent it
speaking
from
with
happening?
animal rescue, that,
There better not
Not
have
for
been,
3 years.
I can tell you, there better not have been any.
Okay.
The only time that they put down, I'm usually notified, it's because they're diseased or they can contaminate the other animals.
and we may want to
Yeah.
put something in there like that too, that the minimum doesn't apply to, in like feral cats, you can't tame those. There's nothing you can really do with them. Certain or diseased animals, things of that nature, may need to put something in there that gives the pound, because the way this reads, any animal that goes in there has to be kept 5 days. That's technically they had rabies or something. It doesn't give any slack one way or another to it.
Is it feasible to do 10 business days?
That's what I was thinking. and
You
that
know,
would
you know,
cover-
it is feasible, and the 5 days is just on paper. You
Yeah.
know, don't think after
And it does
5
say
days
minimum.
these
That doesn't mean
animals go
that-
down, because
No, that's
if
what
he
I was
feels
thinking.
like they're
Dan,
adoptable,
but
he'll
10
keep
days,
them
and that
longer.
would
It's
cover,
usually good to
actually
pick
cover
them
your
up.
weekend and give
Sure.
them a little bit longer depending on
Sure.
what day they were picked up. Give them longer
But
than
yeah,
5
that is a
days.
minimum. It says minimum 5, which gives
Because
the officers
you
time
can
to
chalk
hold
off
them longer.
Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
Sure,
They're
sure.
not gonna count.
The only issue, if you do a longer period, he may need a larger food budget.
He does, because the donations aren't coming in. Walmart used to donate food, and we don't get that anymore, so that absolutely will increase.
Probably not talking about a huge amount or anything. And like I said, I think a little bit longer period of time would give organizations like theirs time to get to the pound and what I was thinking is do a minimum, and after that minimum period of time, if they're like a pickup or a stray, they become adoptable where we can give them off to animal rescue or something. Like I say, 10 days, first 5 days are held. If no owner claims them within those first 5 days, then they can be given to animal rescue or someplace like that.
And also, I have an issue with dogs on chains. I would prefer that they not be on a chain for their life.
And we're talking about an amount of time with like an exception. You put like a 20-foot dog run or something of that nature, for if you need to keep them on for a long extended period of time or something of that nature. Just then get around the
Like
yard.
so many hours on a chain. I know it's going to be hard to
Well,
enforce.
you'd have to prove, it's gonna be hard to enforce, you'd have
That's
to
what
prove
my-
some sort of abuse or cruelty. Which that is, in my mind, that's cruel in itself, but I don't know what the law says about that. I don't know if you could enforce that.
Well,
or not.
there's a portion in here that says you've got to keep them, fed and watered and everything of that nature. But unless,
Is there any
a
state
patrol
law-
officer sit
is
there
there
and
any
watch
state
for
law
6
that governs it?
hours, or a neighbor sit there and watch for, the period of time, that's about it.
No, not in Arkansas.
Just having it in the book, so may prevent some people, or may persuade some people to install a dog run as opposed to just putting them on a 10-foot chain out in the yard, staked to the ground.
What?
Sometimes that's all you can do.
Oh yeah.
With Buster,
Yeah, I understand. I remember Buster.
Well, and I was telling her too, you put them on dog runs, sometimes they run around the tree and get caught up like this, and, yeah.
But I see pit bulls on chains this long. It just, I don't like that.
And on logging chains.
Yeah.
Well, and there may be a case-by-case thing, you can build in there.
And
Dogs on
animal
a s-
rescue really sees
We
the
see,
horrible side that we don't see.
Right.
Sure,
Yes.
sure.
They
Well,
see it.
there's laws on the books to cover that. Is there not?
We file a lot of animal cruelty charges. You can look, it happens.
But, we gotta know it.
And we see it ourselves. I mean, I took 7 animals last month that I was at a house doing a search warrant, and they had to go. It was bad. It was terrible, and we charged them for it.
So are we amending
So
the
we're
name?
pretty compassionate
Or
about
is
it.
it
We see
like
it
an
to do something about it. And
So
a
it's-
dog
it
on a
doesn't
chain,
go
I don't
on.
agree with it at all.
Just need to-
But our hands are tied. But if it isn't around water or anything, we do charge, or we give them time to fix it right then and follow up on it.
I mean, and the ordinance we have, the animal care, it gives, I think, officers a pretty wide, berth as to what they could charge or not charge. But I don't think there would be anything unconstitutional about preventing the use of chains or chains below a certain length or whatever, if you guys were so inclined to do that.
A lot of states and a lot of municipalities across the country forbid chaining, or they have to be on a run.
Mhm. Yeah, and usually if you can do a chain, you can put a run between two trees. I mean, it's usually just a little steel cable, costs $5 at Petco, or
Yep.
and then you just hook your chain to that.
Clothesline.
Yeah, clothesline.
It's inexpensive.
But
So you're gonna draft a new ordinance?
You
I
gonna
need to know what y'all want in it though. Not a new one. No. I think this one's
Well,
a good
amend the
base.
existing
I
ordinance.
think amending it
Just
would be
amend
sufficient, and just tweaking a couple little things. I mean, it's for the most part, I think it's a good.
So do you know what needs to be tweaked, or do you need some of these ladies to help you?
Well, the owner surrender, the number of days that are being held, and whether or not weekends count. And it's just a question for you guys if you want to do something with the chains or not. And I'll just take the redundancies and stuff out of the vicious animal part, because what I've been charging people with is I've been amending any vicious animal, maintaining a vicious animal, to failure to restrain a vicious animal, because the way the ordinance is written, you can maintain a vicious animal as long as you properly restrain them, which is keep them inside an enclosure away from people and only let them out if they're muzzled, is the way that this indicates. So either we ban vicious animals altogether, or we just...
We've already gotten into that. What is the definition of a vicious animal?
Right. Well, and that's for the court of law.
You
If you charge somebody
anything
with
to-
possessing a
you
vicious
can't-
animal, you got to prove it was vicious.
Yeah, you can't.
Having violent propensities or
I
whatever.
like the idea of giving them more time to come pick them up, or for
Okay.
Animal rescue.
Group
See,
like
the vicious
this, yeah.
animal deal got started when a pit bull jumped the fence and killed a couple of pools.
Sure.
That's over in my neighborhood, yeah. And that's where that's going, and we researched that thing, and I even had a committee. And when you start trying to define a vicious animal, it's almost impossible. Get it on something on paper that you can prosecute in court.
Well, the common law and in civil law, you get a one bite rule. Like every dog you get one bite, and then after that one bite, they're labeled vicious, basically. That they could bite
That's
people.
probably not a bad rule.
Yeah.
So what is the stance on the chain?
I don't see you getting involved in that. I don't see how you can.
Yeah, I don't know how you enforce it.
Are you saying no chain and you
No,
want
I'm not saying that. It's like Chief said, don't get me wrong, I'm against the chain, but how you gonna, unless somebody
Know if they've
reports
been
it.
on there 15 minutes or 2 hours, or
Or at least make a minimum length of a chain.
Length and
Yeah,
weight.
difficult.
Well, then you got people out there measuring it. I mean,
Well,
X amount.
I'd like to
times
see him on the run,
possibly.
but if a guy hadn't,
I think we can legally require dog runs instead of chains. I mean,
Yes.
and you just say no chains, it's got to be a dog run or nothing, I mean, if somebody got a front yard and they don't have a fence and say they're renting or something, they can always put up a run between two trees, or I guess if they didn't have any trees in their yard.
There you go. I got to sing 4x4 post of concrete.
Probably can take one
it
from the
can
house.
just get bigger and bigger.
They've got
Or
those,
just don't own a dog if you ain't got where to keep it.
there you go.
What if you can't get rid of it?
Give it to these
I-
folks.
I'm
Then we'll,
serious.
gladly get
then
it.
we'll hit it, and then they'll get it.
Yeah, right.
We they do have things that hammer into the ground
Oh, yeah.
that you can't pull out, trust me. If my dog couldn't pull it out, can't anybody.
Yeah, they've got those
pull it out.
those dog runs that are on the ground. I've seen those where
And-
you hammer it in two spots in the ground and it just
Yep.
runs straight across the ground, and then your dog doesn't
And-
have a tree to wrap itself around.
There you
know? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's up to you guys. I don't think it's we can restrict further than the state or the federal, but which they don't have any requirements. But in our city limits, if we want to make people put dogs on dog runs, we could do it.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
I mean,
Me too.
it makes for a hornet's nest, but
It hurts me to drive by and see an old dog out in the middle of the yard on a 4-foot chain, just
Yeah.
sitting there.
because if you can't have someone who, I know it's not practical to stop and measure a chain.
I mean, yeah, I think, like you said, the length of time on a chain or whatever, that's going to be impossible to force. If you're going to do anything, you have to say no chains.
That's right, because there's nobody.
Put 'em on a run.
Put 'em on a run.
Yeah.
So if you're going to limit it, like you gotta.
You gotta.
That's the only way the officers would have any chance of enforcing
Needs to be
it.
a minimum. I'd put it on a foot, worse than being on a chain.
Oh yeah, and we were talking about that too, and 10-foot, 20-foot minimum, something like that. Dog run.
You need a minimum.
Well, you just put a definition of what a dog run is. Dog run's a minimum of so many feet.
Yeah, you'd have to define dog run.
Gives you a 2-foot dog run, right?
All right, so you're gonna work on that?
Yeah.
I say a minimum of 10 feet.
10.
No
Make sure that's something we defend if we take somebody to court. We justify
Even with a
it.
small
Oh.
yard, 10 foot would probably be
8
okay.
feet, 20 foot.
Sure.
They can-
I think there's, I think we could easily defend one of those statutes. Easily.
Can be done.
And I'm pretty sure that there's several cities out there that have dog run. I mean, I can pull some stats for you guys.
I think it'd be good to see, to do a
Yeah,
little
that's-
research before we start amending things.
Right.
If North Little Rock and Maumelle can do it, why
So North Little
not?
Rock and Maumelle both. I'll pull their ordinances too, and I'll bring you guys.
They're doing what?
Outlawing chains.
Is there anything else from the council? Citizens wishing to appear? Mr. Parsons?
Y'all knew I was going to say something.
Well, we was hoping. We was,
Okay, I just got a couple of things we need to understand. First thing, y'all had a sign put out here. Be cautious whenever you say you can volunteer to do something, because we made 3 calls to emergency services that we call emergency services. All the leadership, every person was out there working on that sign. I didn't like that a bit. I mean, from the top all the way down, we got to talk to the operator. That was it. Everybody was gone. Okay? So just kind of be cautious about that.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
you know, we're not
It's the
really
welcome
following.
announcement
Can you
sign.
start?
Okay, I'll start over. You know this sign that y'all put out here on the street?
Welcome to Malvern.
Yeah, Wake on Malvern. It said we're going to volunteer to do it. It won't cost us a dime. Remember that? Won't cost us a dime. We called the police department 3 times. No leadership was at the police department. Period.
But they were accessible,
Prison was going to do that.
Okay.
weren't they?
Do what?
Or they were accessible? I mean, they could be contacted and they could be...
I'm sure they could be contacted, but
Did they tell you
but
there was
everybody
nobody
was-
available? They tell you there was nobody available?
Yes.
What'd they say?
They said everybody, all the leadership was gone.
What was the
On
call?
the
What was
sign.
the purpose of the call?
We was calling because we had some kids in the back of pickups surfing down our street. Surfing.
Was
is
it a
riding-
911 call?
No.
Okay.
Surfing, and for those that don't know, that's riding in the back of a pickup, riding on top of a car, surfing like you do on the ocean.
Quiet freaks.
Down Hall Street with the bumps. So, I didn't want to
Explain
mention
to the
that.
person you talked to what was going on.
I wish you wouldn't ask me that. I wish you
Well, I'm
wouldn't ask
saying,
me that.
if you,
Because I don't
whoever
remember.
answered
No, I don't.
the phone-
I don't remember if I explained
Whoever
what it
answered the
was.
phone, if you'd
Yeah.
explained that to them, they probably would have sent a car over.
Probably so, but like I said, I cannot say that I did tell them what was going on. But anyway, like I said, this was just a caution that that happened. Okay. As far as y'all's refuge changeover, that y'all did that for, I guess if it happened on our street, happened on a lot of streets, it was pretty smooth. It was definitely really smooth the way that they did it. We talked to them and everything as they was doing it, and it went smooth, so we appreciate y'all getting that worked out. Okay? And, am I bothering you?
Oh, I'm sorry, no. Go ahead.
I didn't know. If I was, I could quit. And the next thing is that I wanted to tell her how much I appreciated you help guiding me through the legalities and everything of the city. So I do want to say that. And I'll go ahead and get out of y'all's hair. I know you're ready for me to leave.
No,
Well, I got some more stuff.
this stuff I like to hear. No, go ahead.
So, but anyway, I do appreciate you guys, like
You're
I told
welcome
you.
anytime.
You know, I do appreciate you guys for what y'all do.
Mr. Carson,
Yes.
the new company didn't take over till today.
They were out last week.
Passing out.
They were just passing out.
Yeah, they didn't take
But it
over.
went over real smooth, that part of it. They answered every question, because we had a lot of questions. Because on our street, they didn't leave a flyer, so we didn't have the answers to the questions.
My trash didn't get picked up.
Yeah, it was in the paper. It was different in the paper that was on the flyer. Okay, because I got a copy of the flyer. But we did ask questions, and the people that was handling that, they answered every question we had but one.
Did you get to send pictures up today? Did they pick it up today? What day did that picture up?
They don't get ours over there until Thursday.
Well, you need to watch it. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat deal. I got to watch mine.
Well, we're planning on, I'm gonna take pictures
get
and
them
bring them
today,
down
Larry,
here, you
in our
know, so
neighborhood?
y'all can see it.
They got them today in our neighborhood? Did your trash get picked up last week?
Okay, so I guess everybody's okay with me? And I'll get out here and get out of y'all's way. And just so y'all know, at Halloween over here on Hall Street, we had 452 kids, and I didn't even know there was that many in town. But we had 452 over there. So, all right then, thanks a lot, guys, appreciate it. And,
Probably because I put it out in the blue can and they weren't taking over till this week.
Yeah, you wasn't supposed to put it out in the blue can.
My lid was open, but all my trash was still
We
in
ain't
there.
gonna get out and pick that blue can up. It took 3 of them. Trash.
I put mine out in the blue can, they still picked it up.
My neighbor did.
If there's nothing else to be brought before the council,
Probably
do I
could
have a
pick
motion?
I sure they wouldn't pick it up, but they did.
Okay, meeting canceled. Over, adjourned.